Hi all, this is Kate Conway. Obviously, I'm posting this to my blog. I've been getting a lot of questions on social media and through some of my messaging sites that revolve around one question. Where the hell is True North? So, I would like to remind everyone that the book did come out in March, which was Cruel Summer. But I'm working on it. It's a massive book, and I encourage everybody, myself included, to reread the series before they pick up True North. And that includes Cruel Summer. So the way I wrote the series was that there was like 9,000 threads. Don't do that. If you're a writer, don't do that. And True North pulls them all together. So if you haven't read the series in a while, you should go back and read it, because there's going to be like 9,000 little things you're like, oh, I forgot about that. But anyway, I kind of feel bad it's taken me so long. And it's very close to being to the point where the four ladies in my world that actually get to read the whole book before everybody else can get their hands on it. So I have a beta team, and they'll tear it apart again. But once it's done, that part doesn't take as long. So right now I'm like 105,000 words in. I think it's going to be around 130. Undertow was 100,000 words. Cruel Summer was 65,000, and Stormfront was 112,000. Even though Cruel Summer is a novella, a spin-off, and it takes place a year before Undertow, it's meant to be read actually either after Undertow or after Stormfront. If you want the best hit for your money, you should read it after Stormfront. However, I would not skip it, because there's stuff in there that's going to happen in True North. So I figured I've tortured people a really long time, and they've waited for me forever, which I'm truly grateful for. It's worth it, I swear. But anyway, so this is this copy, which I do love the book. It's badass looking. This isn't complete. This is like the first 85,000 words, and it's taken me so long to write, because I started writing this in November of what year are we in? 2014. I started writing this in November of 2014 when Cruel Summer was in edits, and it's a big book, and there's a lot of characters in it. They're brand new to the series, so juggling them and all the other stuff, it's taking a long time. So anyway, this is the first 80,000 words. This is not the completed book, but I printed it because I'm like, I can't remember what the hell I wrote. So I thought, rather than torturing people 4,000 times and you're like, can I hear part of it? Can I see part of it? Is there any freaking sample pages anywhere? Which there's not. I thought I would actually just suck it up and read you a part. Now, realizing that this book is still in the editing phase, so some of these sentences and lines might change. This particular chapter is pretty set. I mean, I always tweak how I word stuff anyway. But True North, once again, is from Isla and Rafe's perspective. And if you read my books, you know that Undertow has a prologue in third person that is from Elizabeth Walker's sort of a third person personal. So it's mainly Elizabeth Walker's perspective and how she dies. So the entire series sort of revolves around her death. And then in Stormfront, you get the perspective of Marcus Howe, who is this FBI agent. You know, the group kind of refers to him as a short-statured, overweight hobbit. So, because he irritates the crap out of him, because he's trying to pin down what the hell happened in the Newport Breakers, and so he's been after Isla and her gang. And so anyway, his perspective is the opening perspective for Stormfront. The opening perspective in True North is Rylan Blackwood, the trainer. And it's, well, yeah, it's just how he meets Elizabeth when she's a child. And I love that scene. But I'm not going to read you that scene. I'm going to read you something from more of the middle of the book. And if you know anything about my stuff, I am an urban fantasy writer. However, there's not a ton of fantasy. It's almost more contemporary. And excuse the background, my office had to get moved briefly, so my desk is in my living room. True North is Rafe and Isla's perspective once again. And I'll just read you some of it. So this is chapter 24, and this is Isla. My first 3 classes of the day were as dull as humanly possible, which was fine by me. I even nodded off in ecology until Jesse Vale, the BHS quarterback with perfect ebony skin to match his perfectly cut bod, poked me with his pen to stop me from snoring. I was beyond grateful when the bell rang, signaling lunch, and I gathered my backpack from the front grungy floor of the science room. I stifled a yawn as Jesse tissed, watching me as he leaned his wide frame against one of the protesting desks. "Let me guess, partying all night with Anna?" he asked, a devious curve to his eyebrow. "That's why she's not in school today, right? You two hung from the chandeliers till dawn, eh?" "She's got a fever, so she's staying home. Kian's watching over her," I replied, too tired to really joke about anything. Jesse flipped his pens through his fingers lazily as he watched me pack up. "So, did they get back together, like, officially or something? Because last summer they were tight, but then her dad died, and he just, bailed on her. I'm shocked she took him back at all." He reached down to pick up my backpack, but his raw assessment of Kian scraped my emotions the wrong way. I beat him to the worn strap of my pack and shucked it over my shoulder before he could snag it, unable to hide my mood. "He didn't just up and abandon her, Jess. Trust me, there's way more to that story than you know." He tugged on my sleeve, smiling. "Hey, I didn't mean to get you mad." I let out a cleansing breath, calming myself. I was frustrated with our current state of trying to uncover details about details about blank, and worried about Rillin off on his own. Add to the fact that Anna and MJ were convinced that Jesse had a crush on me, and my mindset basically tanked the instant he poked me with his big ballpoint. Anna and MJ were nuts, however. Jesse was the football captain and a GQ god of the school, and I was Isla. I was the mismatched wallflower that was the first to fade among the clustered pattern of life. I was totally cool with trying to fly below the radar at school because my life was like a Halloween rerun of that TV show Supernatural if it crossed paths with Scream. Nobody else needed to be involved in my train wreck of an existence, especially my very human and very killable classmates. "So, are you still seeing Rafe?" he asked. "'Cause if you're not, I was wondering if you'd like to go grab pizza at Craigville sometime." I literally wanted to crack my head against the nearest cinder block wall. "Sorry, Jess, but Rafe and I are still very much together. Like forever and ever, so move along." He smiled broadly and bumped his elbow with mine, no doubt trying to communicate some secret dude code. "Hey, no worries, I'm a patient guy. I can wait." "So glad you're driven," I muttered, easing my way past the desks and Jesse's broad frame as I headed for the door with the rest of the class. Just as I made it to the jammed hallway, Jesse, still on my heels and talking about some dance thing, I caught sight of a boy farther down the crowded hall. His dark hair and fair skin tickled my memory, causing me to watch him carefully. But then he turned to head down another wing of the school, and my heart kicked into overdrive as I finally saw his face. Striding briskly around the corner and wedged in with my unknowing classmates was the young guy who attacked Nikki in her house and raided my room. Shamrock Boy was inside the high school, and from his backpack and low-slung baseball cap, he looked just like another one of my classmates. "Hey!" I yelled, totally drop-kicking my sanity to another dimension and jumping into line for a death wish. "Hey, you!" I called again as I started pushing through the sea of students, headed against me in the hallway. It was like trying to hold back the tide, and I was slammed into a few of the lockers a couple of times before I felt Jesse behind me, trying to clear the road. "Isla, what the heck? You're gonna get trampled. Get to the other side of the hall before you're roadkill." Jesse grabbed my arm and tried to pull me to the other side of the hall, but I twisted free of his grip and shoved farther into the crowd in pursuit of Shamrock, who was disappearing around the corner. I could hear Jessie cursing as the crowd separated the two of us, but I didn't care. Shamrock had targeted us, going so far as to follow us to the Caribbean, and I wanted to know why. I had every intention of cashing in on his sudden appearance by squeezing every last drop of info from his scrawny hide. Safety be damned. I finally made it around the corner and rapidly scanned the sea of students, searching for his baseball cap and dark hair, but the slippery bugger was nowhere to be seen. I pushed through the crowd, desperate to find him, but a steel-hearted brunette caught my attention instead. Nikki Shea, who Shamrock had threatened with a knife not too long ago, was shuffling books into her locker near the girls' bathroom. Though the devilish side of me was secretly hoping Shamrock had finished her off, I knew I couldn't let her walk around the school without telling her that he was here. My bold anger over seeing him slid into something fearful, concern for my classmates who flowed around me. What if Shamrock was there to threaten them as well? How could I possibly protect them all? Crap balls! I slid along the sticker-strewn lockers, avoiding elbows and laptop bags as I headed for Nikki. She saw me just as I reached her. "What the hell do you want, Walker?" she demanded, her scorching glare enough to melt the wheels off the janitor's mop bucket across the hall. "Just shut up and get in the bathroom," I snarled, shoving her backwards into the girls' room and kicking the door shut behind us. She was startled for an instant, but then her rage kicked in, and she pushed me back hard, knocking me into the sink. "Who the fuck went and took your brains?" she yelled, furious. "You must be out of your ever-loving mind, Walker. Don't ever touch me. Do you hear me?" she snapped, yanking her messenger bag off the floor and fully intending to run me down to get out the door. I stood like a wall in front of her, however, and for a moment I thought she might actually punch me as her fists clenched at her side. "I've got to talk to you. Can't go anywhere without listening to me." She stepped forward slowly. "Get out of my way," she breathed, dragging one hand along the steel doors of the stalls, and I stiffened as the slide locks actually began to rattle in response to her touch. I had no doubt she could tear apart every inch of steel inside the girls' room in a matter of seconds if she wanted to, so I held up my hand, attempting to calm her. "I saw the boy that attacked you in your house, the one with the tattoo on his neck. He's here, in the school, dressed as a student." Nikki froze, the locks instantly falling silent. "What'd you say?" "He's here! I just saw him in the hallway, headed for the theater department." I pointed toward the door, but we both suddenly heard the voices of two girls getting louder just outside the door. Nikki looked at me, and we both bolted for the nearest stall, jamming inside together to hide just as the bathroom door swung open and the girls came in. I immediately recognized the voices of Brianne and Ashley, two of Nikki's field hockey teammates, and they were laughing as they talked. I carefully set my sneakered feet on the top of the toilet so no one would see the 2 sets of Reeboks in the stall if they looked underneath. My life was surrounded by enough gossip as it was, and I didn't need to add snogging in the girls' latrine to my long, long list of Isla's greatest hits. "I'm telling ya, she has easily packed on 10 pounds, chuckled Ashley viciously. "Her ass could block out the sun." Brianne hummed in agreement. Yeah, I bet that makes the guys all line up for some quick serve service even more. They probably take one look at her now and are like, dude, she's totally on the downward slide. Get some now before she's a total loss." The girls laughed together, and I wanted to kick through the door and tell them exactly where they could shove their lipstick. High school could be such a suckfest, that's for damn sure. I had no clue what girl they were talking about, but she sure as hell deserved a chance to beat the tar out of the two girls chattering. "God, I hope she doesn't play in the spring," said Ashley, her scratchy voice making her easy to distinguish from the other one. "I mean, her running through the field with those thighs is just scary. The crowd will be like, 'Watch out, here comes Nick Shea, and she will run you down like a rhino.'" My breath caught as the two girls snickered, and I looked at Nikki, who hadn't moved, enduring the razor-sharp words. I always thought Nikki was above the gossip and the bullying. Heck, I always thought Nikki was the biggest bully. And yeah, she was an absolutely wicked witch when it came to me and my friends. But no one deserved this. I went to grab the stall handle so I could jump out and tell the two girls just what cowards they were, but then I heard my name, spoken by Brianne, and I froze. "That girl, Isla Walker, I totally don't get how that freaking hottie Rafe even likes her in his breathing space. Have you seen her mom? crazy red hair, frizzed out to here. Ashley laughed, and I was sure Brienne was using a visual aid of some sort. And Isla, oh my god, can you not shop in the clearance section all the time, girl? I mean, come on. Ashley cursed. She so doesn't belong in that house on Main. She basically wrecks the resale value by living there. Hey, if we're lucky, Nick and Isla will just kill each other. Lord knows they hate one another. The two girls laughed hard, and my hand slipped from the door, my rage replaced by a bone-deep sadness at the thought of May. I heard them say a few more unkind things about a few other people, and then their voices faded as the bathroom door banged shut. I stepped down from the toilet as Nikki pushed open the stall door. We didn't speak to one another, a weird sort of truce forming in the silence as we straightened out our clothes and shared the mirror to check our appearance briefly. I handed her my phone, and she did the same, and the sound of our fingers exchanging phone numbers was all that punctuated the air. We switched phones again, and I grabbed my backpack from the floor, tossing it over my shoulder as I headed for the door. I looked behind me and saw that Nikki was leaning against the sink, her arms crossed as she watched me. You coming? I asked. She nodded to the door. You get a head start. After all, we don't want to be seen together if we're not at one another's throats. Gossip sucks, after all. Call me if you see him, I replied. She pointed a manicured finger at me. Same goes for you. I went to pull open the door, but stopped and looked back at Nikki. You know, they're wrong, right? You got a great body. A cocky smile curled on the edge of her pink lips. Walker, I've got the hottest body in the whole damn school. I shook my head as I smiled and headed for the cafeteria to let MJ know we had a visitor, but somewhere deep down, I feared that Nikki believed the gossip all too well. And I liked the clearance section, damn it. That's all I got. I mean, I got more than that, but that's all you're getting right now. I hope you like it. Remember, hopefully, January. Cross your fingers. Bye.